what a success it was to have John Sloss on, Cinetic Media, rather. Let's bring him in right now. Come on in here, John. Sit here. Go Blue. Go Michigan.
Go Blue.
We got a ton of mail when you were on last time. This excitement, this creative destruction, it's Hollywood. What have you learned in the last 60 days about what's going to work and what's not going to work?
What's going to work in the theaters or what's going to work across
Both.
all
You
platforms?
Pick. Both.
It's a brave new world, not so much in the theaters. The theaters are all about tent poles, at least from the studio standpoint. Among the different platforms, Netflix, VOD, we're learning more every day as to what's working and what works better and how to sequence things and make them work.
Critical question I've observed. The consumer is digitally exhausted. They're being hammered by everything, yes, including my media projects. Andy Cohen sat in this chair from Bravo yesterday. He's throwing 300-some hours at them. Is there digital exhaustion out there?
Yes, but not for you. The short answer is the promise of seeing everything ever made anytime you want is a bit overwhelming.
Well said. Well said.
So you need a filter, and there are filters evolving, trusted filters that people are relying on, so that they know how to prioritize, the valuable time they have to view.
Dreaded first chart here. Let's look at a fossil. Well, maybe not. Others would disagree. Across Central Park movies. This is a business. Time Warner, and there's a lot in there. There's a lot more going on there, including AOL. What is the state of the movie business? I stayed at the Sunset Tower Hotel when I went out to the Milken Institute. What a lovely institution. It just reeks of nostalgia. Forget about the nostalgia. What's the state of the business?
The business, I think, is pretty healthy. There's a transition going on. DVD is reducing. There's no question. The revenue. They've said the sky has been falling for the studios on DVD for quite a few years, but I think they've been exaggerating. Now it's kind of catching up with them, and there's a transition being made to digital. Netflix is wildly successful. They're paying serious amounts of money to step into a pay TV window, and digital consumption is converting, and people are going to pay for it. So I don't know that the end is nigh.
Let's go to the microeconomics. What are they going to pay for? King's Speech did well. The movies that you are associated with, I mean this with all great respect, they are smaller movies. Are they going to pay for those movies?
I beg your pardon. I represent the director of Fast 5.
Okay, excuse me.
There you go. Yes, they will pay for those movies. The future's about communities. It's about identifying your community. Yeah, it's about marketing directly to your community, disintermediating the big conglomerates that used to stand in the middle that had to bombard you with marketing to get your attention. Now it's about micro focus. It's about being what's the word? Aggressive, but
it's
viral.
Friday,
it's about being
words.
Yes, thank you. It's about being viral and about targeting your community.
Right. This chart blew me away. I knew it was in my head. Elegant chart. It's an elegant chart, and it's just about what John was talking about. Schumpeterian creative destruction. That's Sony in yellow, normalized back 5 years, and that is the juggernaut that is Netflix. And in between there is every other story. What's going to happen to those big 1960s, 70s Brontosaurus companies?
I think the future is that the studios are going to, between them, make 52 blockbusters a year. They're going to sequence them one a weekend, and that's going to be their business. And the rest is going to be taken up by people financed from outside, making films at different scales for different size audiences. There's an economic efficiency at play here that I think is great. I'm bullish on the future.
Does the Oscar crew, the more serious art movies that get those Oscar votes, do they just sort of mentally take the summer off, or is now their busiest time of year as they get ready for the serious movies?
They don't take the summer off, but there's some summer counter-programming. There are Oscar films that have been released in the summer that slowly work their way up through the fall, but you're right. By and large, they come out in the fall. The summer weekends are one blockbuster a weekend, one studio rom-com a weekend, and then every other week a family film.
Do you go to the theaters anymore?
I go to the theaters all the time.
All the time?
I'm a dinosaur.
How have they changed? When you walk in the theater as an entertainment pro, how has it changed from 20 years ago, besides the prices?
Yeah, I don't know that it has. You know, there's 3D and the variable pricing of 3D. You know, I still get a big bag of popcorn. I used to joke that I got into the film business because I like popcorn. And I still do that, and I still go out to the multiplex up near my country house, and it's much the same as it was 20 years ago.
You just whispered into my ear as we go, I look at the movies now, 150 million, 150 million. I think Bridesmaid was 35 million. Somebody made a movie for $9,000.
Not only somebody, Eddie Burns, who made Brothers McMullen and is a stalwart of the independent world and is a movie star in his own right, made a film that was the closing night of the Tribeca Film Festival. He made it for $9,000.
What's his financial goal in doing that? To sell it for $35,000?
No, you know, the day of selling your film and handing it off to someone else and then seeing them at the premiere is over. Now you can sort of steward that film through all the different windows and media, and that's what he's going to do. He's a very savvy guy, and he's going to make, you know, 50 to 100 times the cost of the movie back in revenue.
So's Rob Marshall. Here it is, op-ed, A.O. Scott, New York Times. It's a movie out now. Whale oil explodes and Buccaneers bellow. Why would Walt Disney ever want to leave well enough alone in Hollywood? Gratuitous excess, not necessities, is the mother of invention. That sounds like the attorney Sloss screaming at somebody on the phone. I mean, this thing won't die, will it? This is not $9,000 to me.
I think it's great. Look at Fast 5 is the 5th in a series, and it turned it from a car chase movie into a heist movie, and it grossed more than any of the 4 preceding numbers in the series, and it's arguably the best of the 5. You know, if they invent new ways to sort of blow things up and tell stories, people will show up.
What is the power of actors and actresses this 2011?
Less than it once was, but still significant. Fewer and fewer of them can open a movie, and you know, more and more of them are in service of these big, high concept, you know, giant, what's the word, special effects machines. But yeah, they matter.
Yeah, bring up Disney, please. Here, I love this. This chart blew me away. I was so wrong. Of course, Pirates of the Caribbean, I believe, involved with Disney. Johnny Depp here says Tom is wrong. Anytime I can get my name mentioned with Johnny Depp, that works. Anyways, I had no idea how successful the Disney equity had been. I mean, I just had missed that completely.
Yeah.
What a triumph. What did they do in LA? How are they perceived in Los Angeles?
I think they leverage all their assets across all the different platforms, from merchandising, from their theme parks to merchandising to movies. They do it brilliantly. And I think they have cut costs. All the studios are making fewer films, and they're making them count.
You went to France, to Cannes Film Festival. For Americans like me that don't get it, we sort of get Sundance. We get that idea. What is the distinctions of the Cannes Film Festival?
The Cannes Film Festival is glamour incarnate. It's a big international festival. It's still, in terms of the auteur, critic-driven festivals, the dean of all of them worldwide. And the market, and it has a market attached to it. And the market was actually pretty vibrant this year.
Why was it vibrant given economic struggle?
I honestly think that people just got sick of telling a negative story and decided to sort of make it work. Plus,
we try that every day here, and it doesn't work. If you saw pending home sales today, you can't make that positive.
That's movie magic. What can I tell you?
Yeah.
You know, my friend Harvey Weinstein showed up. He had a hit last year. He doesn't put his money in a piggy bank. He tends to try and leverage it up. And he was there in evidence, and he helps drive a market.
Yeah, look, here's Woody Allen, and I reckon there's Owen. You know, there's the sparkle.
There you go.
That's exactly the same as it was when Woody Allen was younger. But there's a difference now to the deal makers that you're involved with. How has the negotiation changed in terms of like who gets equity, who gets a follow-on, the recoupable? How the legal balance changed?
They're still the same components. The relative mix will change from time to time. Soft money, subsidy money is more and more important than ever. That, in a way, has taken up for the softness in DVD. While digital is coming online, these sort of state subsidies have actually filled in the hole and allowed films to continue getting made.
By state, you mean like Louisiana or
Louisiana,
Vancouver?
Connecticut, Indiana, you name it, or you know, Ireland, Canada.
Yeah, I mean the Cable Cars movie, there it is, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, San Francisco Cable Cars. They filmed in Vancouver mostly.
Well,
and that's a subsidy.
Canada, yeah, it's interesting. A lot of the state subsidies were a reaction to this runaway production to Canada. So Canada's actually come down a little bit because the states are offering 20 to 30, sometimes 40% rebates on the production budgets of movies. My home state of Michigan has been famous for the movies that they have subsidized.
And now we go to the most important question of our entire hour of Surveillance Midday movies for the summer. When I drive around the Upper East Side of New York and I see the white movie trucks, how much negotiation is there for like the quality of the trucks or the food in the trucks? Is that like in the contract, or is that just the producer saying this is the way it's going to be?
Well, it depends how much leverage you have. More and more these days, it's the producer in the studio saying this is the way it's going to be. But when you're Will Smith and you have, you know, a mansion on wheels, you have the leverage to get that every time. And there are a number of actors who do.
What's the number one thing America, like me, gets wrong when we look at the movie industry? We tune in for the Oscars. Maybe we see 10 minutes of the Golden Globes. What's the thing we need to know about the creative process of the movies?
You know, people focus disproportionately on box office. There's also such a thing as cultural impact, and cultural impact isn't necessarily correlated to who sells the most tickets. It's to what films had the greatest influence. And I would argue that the films that we like to work on, the sort of quality literary films, end up having the most societal and cultural influence.
Give us an example of one coming out you're working on now, you're enthused by.
Well, we were showing footage in Cannes to sell of the film On the Road, based on the Jack Kerouac book, directed by Walter Salles, with Kristen Stewart, I'm sorry.
That's okay, I said kinetic.
Yeah, we're even. Walter Salles, who did Motorcycle Diaries, it's a beautiful film. It's going to be a big film, and it's based on one of the most important books of the 20th century. It's been 25 years in development.
Thank you so much, John. Thrilled to have you in here to get our show started. John Sloss, Cinetic Media.